Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Grix here, and Sil is sitting in with us today, and we are going to feature Lightning in the GunBound Academy Explained series. If you guys enjoyed the GunBound Academy Explained series, do check out our other ones, or just watch this one if you want to know more about Lightning in general. I hope these videos are educational for you, and it helps you with your gameplay every step of the way. Without further ado, we're going to move on, but as always, support us by subscribing, hitting the notification bell, smashing the like, and what do you want them to say to you, Sil? Church chicken?
Nothing. Church is chicken.
I don't know.
No, don't say it. I know what you're gonna say.
Okay, alright.
No.
Alright, just send them dick pics. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, welcome back, guys, to the GunBound Academy series where and Sil sometimes, try to explain to you guys what the tank can actually do. Now, most tanks, they are relatively similar, but in different situations, it can be played differently. Now, overall, the pros, sitting at 710 HP right out the box, in par with Rockin', it is second place, so I gotta give HP to that. In terms of damage, however, S1, S2 can do quite reliable damage, so it's definitely up there as well. On top of that, it's a shield type. SS is one of the highest damage hitters if you can land the ball, that is. Same with Grub. And the range is similar. Actually, it's exactly the same as Rockin', which is relatively good out of the box. On top of that, it's a shield breaker, AoE, and I don't usually add this, but Avatar. Now, when I say Avatar, it's mainly because the tank is really tanky and the damage is high, so you can go on with your day without damage reduction or HP. You can actually stack a lot of damage because the tank does a lot of damage. Therefore, you can kind of go either way with avatars. So I kind of like that for Lightning. Now let's move on over to the cons. There are a few here. The terrain is an issue. I know, Sil, you don't play Lightning, but you know, in the airship map, you know how the airship is curved. Yeah, so if you use the V Thunder, because the V Thunder don't actually link to where the ball lands, it's actually like one in front and one behind. When the terrain is like that, you basically don't hit anything. You only get like a minimal splash damage. On airship, always use S1 until you get a shot that you can use S2. Otherwise,
So it has to be flat.
if you want to maximize your damage, it has to be flat, or and on top of that, S1 has its own challenges as well, because if there is terrain above, you are reliant on S2, and if the terrain at the bottom is not really that great for S2, you're kind of fucked either way, right? So that's how I see it for terrain. SS Judgment is actually relatively hard to acquire. Unlike other tanks, you actually have to hit it spot on with S1 and spot on with S2 to get it. And by spot on, it means you can't be off by a half. You can only be off by like maybe 0.25. Otherwise, you won't get it. Sometimes it looks like it landed, but you still won't get the reward because you didn't land right in the middle of the tank. Okay. SS difficulty, like I said,
It's quite difficult.
it's quite difficult because it's like shooting a ball and hopefully it stays where it needs to go. I have been hit friendly fire-wise multiple times. The game could have ended if they used just S1, S2, but no, they decided to go balls to the walls and ended up killing me instead, so I rage. And the next thing is AoE. Now, I did mention AoE is a pro, but also a con, mainly because if you want to counter Lightning, the best way to do so is land close to him. Because if Lightning has no other target other than you, Lightning will always splash damage himself. It's free damage if you are the opponent. So AoE wise, it's kind of a double-edged sword here. And also the bullet property. Now, I did mention, with S2, the V Thunders don't actually link to the center of the ball. The first Thunder is one in front, and the second Thunder is one behind. So technically speaking, if you want to land your SS Judgment perfectly, look at the win count plus or minus 1 if the terrain is flat, right? So that's the only thing. You will never really be able to hit both Thunders unless they're in a specific spot. And if you're lucky to do so, you will hit that 280, 300 mark. I've been hit like that, so Lightning is actually quite scary. So here on, before we begin, I did note just +1 -1 to the wind count if you're using S2 in order to acquire the judgment. If you don't want that, or you don't care about it, you only want damage, don't worry about it. Don't need to add the +1 +2. Cool? Alright, so moving on over to the north wind. Starting off at north wind, it's a little different than most tanks. But in close range, the ratio is still 3-1. But there's a difference between close range and risky shot position. Because if it's risky shot position, you literally just put the crosshair right on them. But if it's close range, again, it's just as normal, 3-1, 33% times the wind count. But chances are you're never going to be that close. You don't want your enemy that close. So in a medium distance and beyond, it's 50%, 2-1, which is 50% times the wind count. So for instance, if the wind is 6, then you move it 3 in front. Oh my god, I need water. Anyways, moving on to the next one.
Northeast wind ratio is 1-1, 100% times
the wind count. So like most tanks, unless the ratio changes a little bit, it's always either going to be 100% or 1 to 1.2, which is 120%. Lightning falls in the category of 100%, just like rockin'. So if you hit that northeast wind, don't worry about it. Just shoot whatever the number is. Pull back and all that stuff, right? So stop asking me. I'm getting fucking.
What do you mean by 100%? Like 100.
100% of the wind count. If the wind says 7, then you move 7 in front, right?
Okay.
If the wind says 20, you move it 20. It'll never be 20, but I'm just saying. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I think I've always noted the +1 -1. I don't need to say it, but just to inform you guys, if you guys are watching or just reading because you don't like our voices, that's okay. But just want to let you know. So moving on over to east wind, the ratio is still 1-1, like most tanks. And yeah, it's 100% times the wind count. Whatever it is, you just pull it back that many. So you don't have to really worry about north, east, and east wind. It's usually one of the easiest wind for standard tanks at the very least. Moving on over to southeast wind. You want to start that one?
Southeast wind is ratio 2-1, 50% times wind count.
Yeah, so if it's perfectly southwest, honestly, if the number is 8, how far do you pull it back?
You don't have to ask me that.
No, I'm asking you that. I know your math is bad.
It's not that bad.
What is it then?
4.
Thanks for stalling like 30 seconds to get that answer. You should have just answered it. Why are you stalling time? Anyways, moving on over to south wind. It is like a standard tank, 3-1 ratio, and it's 33% times the wind count. Again, you just need to know you're divisible by 3, and you are golden. However, if you are SIL, then you're just going to have to ask a friend, what's the count, bro? I feel like that's your tagline. What's the count, bro?
What's the count?
All right, moving on over here to southwest wind. It's a little different here. If you're within close proximity, meaning close range, risky shot, whatever, the count should be 100. I'm not 100% sure on the risky, but I know for close range, meaning a little bit closer than starting position and all that stuff, it will be 100%. I have to double check and reconfirm, and if I am wrong, I will note that in the description or whatnot. But for now, the ratio is 1-1. So whatever it is, if you're facing the enemy and the wind is southwest to you, meaning headwind, just pull it back whatever the number, it will pretty much hit spot on.
But what do you mean by like that's like risky shot? Like that's like the enemy tank, your tank is like close.
Oh, very good question. Now I can't show you right now, but I'm gonna show you with this pointer. Okay, so imagine if this is the map. This is where SIL spawns. This is where I spawn. This is where enemy spawn, and this is where enemy number 2 spawns. Where SIL and I meet, that's close range. That's 5 rulers, right?
So that's risky shot?
No, that's close range. Okay. If I were to move 9 on the ruler, 9 up, that's considered still close. If I move 10, it's now medium range. Okay. So basically 1 full ruler, it's considered medium. Which is why starting positions are usually medium. I mean, starting position, they range from 15 to 20 spaces. I
Okay.
think. But again, don't quote me on this, guys, because some maps they are bigger than others, of course. But most maps, you do start if you're playing 2 versus 2, 5 apart from each other. So that's considered close range. Now, risky shot position is within that 200 or two ruler distance, right?
But if you're lightning, you don't want to do that, right?
Of
'Cause
course,
there's
that's
gonna be.
exactly. So that's why the one of the con is the AOE factor will give you the splash damage. You're not gonna get risky shot anyways. It's really hard to get risky shot with lightning. I think it's impossible. So I personally would rather walk away or roll away as far as you can, and then land your super sky and try to dig him into a hole. That's what I would do with lightning. Anyways, if you're not comfortable with it, just hover, just coin toss the lightning ball and trap them, and then move away. Actually, move away and then do that. Anyways, if you are in further position, meaning long range, I'm talking about big map, big range. Okay, big map, big range. The count is 75%. Most standard tank they start off at 75, but because lightning, like rockin', have the extra added range, you're gonna have to account for that. So on a bigger map, far apart, if it's a big map and let's say you spawn in the back position and you want to shoot the guy at the back, chances are if you can reach, because depending on the win number, you will have to pull it back 75% of whatever the win count. So if the win is 12, you got to pull it back 9, which is virtually impossible. So you just have to either straight shoot it or just pick another target or use a consumable and spend your turn wisely. That's how I would say it. And again, note the +1 -1, of course. Okay, let's move on. West wind, like rockin', exactly like rockin'. From close range to medium range, again, it's just ratio 1-to-1. Now, if we are talking about long range, again, like I said, if you're spawning near the back, hitting the guy in between the first guy and the second guy, chances are it will be 80%. Now, you might ask, oh, Greg, doing these math calculations, 75%, 85%, it's fucking hard. It is, but guess what? It's only 12 numbers. As long as you can remember 25%, 50%, 75%, and 80% of the number. Oh, and on top of that, 120%. A lot of numbers to remember, but they are all within that range. So remember 12 numbers of that divisible, and you will be good. Well, unless you're Sil, then you're gonna need me. So what's the count, bro? Okay, moving on to the last one, which is the most trickiest one. And the reason why I added the ruler distance is because it's really hard to judge whether or not you are close, super close, medium close. Mainly because this game doesn't tell you the firing angle number like the GBPC did. You're going to have to kind of play it by eyeball. But I've already did the hard work for you, so here it goes. If you are within 10 ruler spaces, it is considered close or even risky shot position. You will have to pull it 100%. All right, so if the wind is facing northwest 7, you're gonna have to pull it back the enemy tank 7 spaces. Yeah. All right, so now moving on over, if the ratio the ratio then becomes 4-3 at 75% if you are within medium distance. So it's a very small window for medium range, which is why it was so confusing for me. Most of the time when I'm lightning, it's 50% because I know I get the range, so I'm going to shoot further so that my other teammate doesn't need to reach that far. So I always shoot at 50%, and then sometimes it's 75%. Now, because thanks to Sil, we now know within medium distance, aka 10 to 15 spaces, considered medium space, that will be 75% of the count. Now, if you are anywhere beyond that point, then it is 50%. A lot of math calculation. I mean, chances are you're gonna have to use this formula, and on top of how you play by feel. I know Sil's way of feeling is just asking. So for you, I don't know. Ask Google or ask Alexa if you have. But anyways, try to remember these ratio. Chances are by the time you really focus that one tank for, let's say, a month and trying to remember all these ratios, you're going to remember it and it's going to be in your head forever. so that when you play other tanks that has the same range calculation, it's always going to be the same, which is why standard tanks are considered standard tanks. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the thing. Oh, what did I say? Oh, shit. Oh, be mindful when using S2V Thunder. It's less effective. When the lightning bolt is repeatedly placed on the same location consistently, because the angle of the attack becomes further and further and further and further away from the target. So if you haven't noticed, the V Thunder is, again, one in front, one behind. If you keep landing the ball on top of the target, the V Thunder is going to keep digging into that one spot, aka getting further and further away from the actual target, thus making you have less damage. So if you want, and if you have this airspace to do it, I personally would start off with S2 V Thunder, and then rotate between S2 to S1, S2 to S1. That way, unless you have another target, that you can maximize your damage like that. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I hope that information helps you. Again, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. I would love to chat with you guys. If there are any errors that you guys find within these charts, you can definitely let me know, and I am more than happy to update it. I'm open to criticism unless it's from Sil.
Whoa.
Bro, really?
Look, sorry.
Sit down. Sit the fuck down. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, because we definitely enjoyed giving you the knowledge. So again, support us by subscribing if you want, and hit the notification bell if you want, and smash a like if you want, and send Sil a dick pic. Okay, bye.
Don't.